Boys, this is not a drill. Football is back, boys. We are here to review not every game of the week. We're going to have a new rule just to limit the length of the videos. Any game that is a double-digit game or higher, we are not going to talk about. Pretty much the Panthers-Saints game, the Vikings-Giants game, and the game that just ended between the Jets and the Niners. Those are Cowboys-Broncos and Commanders Bucks. We probably won't talk about any of those games just because we're going to talk about the close games. We're going to talk about the games that don't matter. And if I feel the need to change that, I will. But I want to talk about the close games. These are the games that matter to me. So let's get into it. Starting off Thursday night, we had the Ravens and the Chiefs. The Chiefs hold off the Ravens by 7 when a review overturns a touchdown on the final play of the NFL season opener. That was extremely tough. You know, Lamar played really good. People are going to shit on him. He played good, I would say. There are definitely some disappointing moments, but I would say he played good. That game was almost headed into overtime, but Isaiah Likely had a great catch. That was a great effort by him. Couldn't quite hold it in. That was a super tough way to go out. But looking at the top performers, Lamar Jackson, 26 for 41, 273 yards and a passing touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, 20 for 28, 291 yards and a touchdown. He did throw a pick, but it is what it is. Isaiah Pacheco got in the end zone. Lamar Jackson played fucking insane. Like, come on. There's no world where this is a bad game from Lamar. 16 carries for 122 yards at the quarterback position. I don't know. Isaiah Likely had a career game, 9 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. And my boy Rashee Rice, a sleeper pick in fantasy, had 7 catches for 103. So overall, a really dope way to open the NFL season. Then you got my Packers, holy shit. The controversial Sao Paulo game. It's going to go down in history. Looking at the game, Saquon Barkley scores 3 touchdowns. The Eagles beat the Packers by 5 in Brazil. Jordan Love was obviously injured in the final minute, which raises all sorts of concerns. Saquon Barkley has been practicing the art of positive thinking since switching teams for the first time in his career. And shout out to the Eagles, man. They start their season in the win category. You know, there's a lot of pressure on them to an extent, getting Saquon Barkley. The playmaking was just absolutely at an all-time high for Saquon in this game. He played absolutely incredible. Jordan Love, before the injury, 17 for 34, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but I'm not going to really put that on him too much. Jalen Hurts went through 20 for 34, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 interceptions. You get 2 rush touchdowns for Saquon Barkley. Josh Jacobs had a good game, 16 carries for 84. I think that's a really good debut for him. Jaden fucking Reed. My goodness, if you had him on fantasy and you luckily started him. 4 catches, 138 yards, and a touchdown. And another guy that's on my fantasy team, A.J. Brown, had 5 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown. So some really high-caliber offensive games to open up the NFL season with Thursday and that Friday game as well. So that was quite a treat. Starting off Sunday, we have the Cardinals and the Bills. Josh Allen throws 2 touchdown passes and runs for 2 others as the Bills rally for a 6-point win over the Cardinals. It was not looking good for Buffalo at first, but for all the changes the Buffalo Bills had at wide receiver and on defense this offseason, the one big constant that remained was quarterback Josh Allen, and he was able to go out there, prove that he is an MVP caliber player, and win the fucking football game. Will the Bills to victory. The Bills defense played really good down the stretch. DJ Dallas had a kick return. Yeah, man, Josh Allen just did a little bit of everything. Defense turned to offense for them. Everything kind of just crumbled down and went well for them at the end. Kyler Murray threw 21 for 31 with a touchdown. Josh Allen, great game, 18 for 23, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great stuff there. Kyler Murray also had 5 carries for 57, so I think that's something that's worth noting. And then you get Keon Coleman, the rookie wide receiver for the Bills. He's going to have to step up throughout the season. He had 4 catches for 51. So not bad there. They're obviously riding on the coattails of guys like Dalton Kincaid. They're going to hope that James Cook has a couple good games here and there. So there you have it. Pretty solid game. Marvin Harrison, obviously pretty disappointing, but he is a fucking rookie. Not every rookie's going to have a good first game, and we're going to see that here in a second. Next, getting into the Patriots and the Bengals. Can you fucking believe it? The Patriots won this football game. Patriots win Gerard Mayo's debut as a coach, which that's so awesome that he's their coach, by the way. They beat a mistake-prone Bengals by 6. In his first start for the Patriots, Jacoby Brissett really didn't have to do much spectacular. Ramon Stevenson was an absolute dog all game long. First down after first down. big tutties, fighting for yards. Obviously, Jamar Chase, despite, the contract disputes, still came out there, played, had a pretty solid game for not getting fucking paid. Zach Moss is now the running back for the Bengals. I'm not sure what's going on there. Patriots had some really good defense, and obviously Gerard Mayo was a former defensive player for the Patriots, so it's cool to see his defense play well. Jacoby Brissett, let's just look at some of the big performers. Jacoby Brissett, 15 for 24, but that's really about it from him. Joe Burrow threw 21 for 29. This was a pretty boring game, if I have to say so. Ramondre Stevenson and Zach Moss got in the end zone. Austin Hooper had 2 catches for 31, and Jamar Chase had 6 catches for 62, but that's really all you're looking at. Pretty boring game. And now we move on to the Bears. Bears versus Titans. Caleb Williams has a rough debut, but gets bailed out by the Bears defense. They win by 7 over the Titans. Wasn't exactly the debut Caleb Williams envisioned. Good thing for him, his defense made just enough plays, and the Bears pride themselves on defense, and they came out and did just that. Had the best defensive performance easily of the entire week. Shout out to my boy Jonathan Owens, Simone Biles' husband and former Packer, for getting a scoop and score. That was awesome. And a wild deflection ended up being Roma Dunes' first NFL catch. Caleb Williams was getting roughed up. This was a rough game for Caleb Williams, and it's definitely demoralizing for him, I'm sure, but it's nice to have the defense go out there and play. Tony Pollard had a really good start to this game. Will Levis had some nasty plays. Will Levis played pretty good to start. I feel like they got a little bit in their heads, got a little bit cocky, and then started to not play very well. But yeah, Will Levis, 19 for 32, 120. I don't know. He threw for a touchdown, but he threw 2 interceptions, including this dumbass little scoop pass he had at the end. Caleb Williams didn't play good at all. Tony Pollard, 16 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Great game for him. Calvin Ridley had 3 catches for 50, while, again, a pretty lame game here as well. Moving on to Steelers and Falcons, Justin Fields steps in for Russell Wilson. Chris Boswell boots 6 field goals to lead the Steelers past the Falcons. They win by 8. Better give that man a paycheck. Better pick him up off the waivers if you don't have that kicker in fantasy. With all eyes on the quarterbacks, Chris Boswell's strong right leg stole the spotlight in the season opener, and it's really cool to see the Steelers win their first game of the season. I am rooting for Justin Fields. I think it's going to be awesome. Kirk Cousins, just being typical Kirk Cousins, 2 interceptions. That's just not great. Justin Fields had George Pickens a couple of times this game. TJ Watt making defensive plays more than ever, of course. There's some flares here. There was some temper. There were some fighting moments, but there you have it. Kirk Cousins had a couple of good plays, I guess. But the man threw 16 for 26 and had a touchdown, I guess, but 2 interceptions. That's not a great look. Justin Fields kept it simple, throwing 17 for 23 this game. Not a whole lot going on. George Pickens, good game for him, 6 catches for 85, and Ray McCloud for Atlanta, literally being their star receiver this game, had 4 catches for 52. I don't know where the hell Drake London or Kyle Pitts went, but I don't know. It's strange. Then you get the Jaguars-Dolphins game. Jason Sanders makes a 52-yard field goal as time expires. The Dolphins rally past the Jaguars, winning by 3. For the Miami Dolphins, the day started with chaos and ended with celebration. Obviously, the whole thing with Tyreek Hill is a big headline for this week. But shout out to Jason Sanders for getting it done. The detainment celebration from Tyreek, that was pretty fucking funny. That was great. Tyreek, though, just able to overcome that, come in, lock in for game time. That's what a great receiver does. Travis Etienne. Oh man, I had him on fantasy, and fumbling in the end zone's not great. Obviously, Tua is going to use his fast receivers, both using Jalen and Tyreek today, so that was a good day. He played fucking great. 23 for 37, 338 yards and a tutty. Trevor Lawrence, 12 for 21, 162 yards and a touchdown. Not terrible there. Bigsby, 12 carries for 73 yards. Not sure why we're not giving the ball to Etienne. Gabe Davis had 3 catches for 62, so that's not bad. And Tyreek Hill, leaving just where he left off from last year. 7 catches, 130 yards and a touchdown. One of the best performances we saw out of a receiver all week. So shout out to the Dolphins. That was a pretty hard-fought game. Texans and Colts, this is a game I definitely wish I tuned in for. Anthony Richardson versus CJ Stroud, both being from the same draft class. This was a lot of fun. Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon combined to lead the Texans past the Colts by 2 in a season opener. The Houston Texans invested heavily in the offseason in giving CJ Stroud some additional scoring options. Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs, those are some huge pickups. The Texans definitely cooked with this offseason. Stephon Diggs, 2 tutties this game. Anthony Richardson was a fucking beast, fighting through defenders, throwing lasers, chucking the ball 50 yards down the field without a sweat. It was kind of insane to watch. Shout out to Joe Mixon again. Defense turned to offense a couple of times for these teams. CJ Stroud, 24 for 32, 2 touchdowns, not much more you can ask for. Anthony Richardson had 212 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns. Pretty costly pick. Can't really afford that in a close game like this. Joe Mixon had a really good fucking game. 30 carries, 159 yards, and a touchdown. Holy fucking shit. That's one of the best running back performances we saw all week. And Anthony Richardson doing it on the ground as well. 6 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown. Alec Pierce was an absolute dog. 3 catches, 125 yards and a touchdown, while Nico Collins, one of the most underrated young receivers in the league, had 6 catches for 117. There's about 3 more games I want to get into as we talk about the Broncos-Seahawks game. Kenneth Walker III sparks the Seahawks rally as Seattle tops Denver by 6 and Mike McDonald's debut. The first top 2 plays of Mike McDonald's career as a head coach started by watching his quarterback get sacked and throw an interception while being hit as he threw. So it was a very rough start. Seahawks started a little slow here, but they picked it up, and Smith started locking in, throwing some big tutties. Nix had a nasty little rush touchdown where he spun around a defender. That was cool. He's going to have to get a little better, though, of course. He's a rookie. Got to give him a break here. 2 first-half safeties from the Seahawks wasn't great. It just took away their momentum the entire game. Kenneth Walker, though, just fighting through. Yeah, it's cool. And Geno Smith had a 34-yard rush touchdown, so a lot of ground game stuff here. Obviously, Bo Nix, not a great first start. He threw 26 for 42, but he also threw 2 interceptions. Geno Smith, 18 for 25, threw a touchdown and an interception. Bo Nix got a rushing touchdown as well off of 5 carries for 35. Kenneth Walker, great game, 20 carries, 103 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett, continuing to be old and people are doubting him, but he comes out, has 6 catches for 77, so he's proving that he can be consistent. Next, let's talk about the Rams and the Lions game, and I think that's going to wrap it up. That was our Sunday night game, a little overtime action here. I think this is the only game that went to OT this week. Yeah, it was. It's kind of surprising. I feel like there are a lot of first week OT games for some stupid reason. But looking at the game, David Montgomery's 1-yard touchdown run in overtime lifts the Lions to a 6-point win over the Rams, and when I tell you that David Montgomery had a beast mode second half, he fucking did. That shit was crazy. The Detroit Lions opened the season by outlasting the Los Angeles Rams with a balanced offense, grinding out yards in the ground and going to the air for some pivotal plays as they did in their NFC wildcard game. Yeah, shout out to David Montgomery. He was an absolute dog. Obviously, Matthew Stafford had the connects with Cooper Kupp all game long. The Lions just couldn't stop him. John Johnson had a huge pick. Kyron Williams had a touchdown. Shout out to Jamison Williams. That's a guy that not a lot of people thought was going to last in the league, but he's already showing a lot of consistency. So shout out to him. Looking at Matthew Stafford, 34 for 49. He threw for a touchdown. He also threw for a pick, which is whatever. Jared Goff, 18 for 28, 217 yards with a touchdown and a pick. Really good games from these guys. David Montgomery, 17 carries, 91 yards and a touchdown. Just thugging it out, running through people. Run through a motherfucking face. That's what David Montgomery did on Sunday night. Kyron Williams ran for a touchdown. Of course, you get Cooper Kupp getting a touchdown and having 14 catches, which is a career best, I think. And Jameson Williams, 5 catches, 121 yards and a touchdown. Huge play for him. I think that's going to do it. Now, if you guys want me to start covering every single game, I can, but I don't think there's any point. I just want to cover the super close, down-to-the-wire games that have interesting storylines in them. And the Cowboys-Browns game, the Commanders-Bucks game, the Jets-Niners game. Who's talking about these games? No one's talking about the Saints and the Panthers. No one's talking about the Vikings and the Giants. So I think it's fair that we could just wrap it up here. I'm going to throw the clips together, edit, the matchups and all that, and the stats, put them on the screen for you guys, and we're just going to get this video out for you guys tomorrow. So with that being said, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I have to go to bed here in about 10 minutes. I'll probably hop on NCAA real quick and check some stuff because I'm hoping that I can get to record a video this week for that. We will have to see how that goes. But I have to wake up in about 8 hours from now because I got a lab in the morning. So we're going to get geared up for that. So peace out. No, I was going to do something crazy. My bad. Peace out, boys.